Hello, it's Joyful Hermit here. I want to share just a couple of early on visions and locutions about suffering. And I guess I'll go ahead and just share the circumstances of them and see if they resonate with any of you. Sometimes I think, well, if I would just give the message without the circumstances, maybe it wouldn't have the same impact. I don't know, so we'll find out. Anyway, shortly after I had converted to Catholicism in 1995, I've had chronic pain from a car accident in 1984 for all these years, and a major couple of back surgeries, and I'm ready to have another one, hopefully fairly soon. But anyway, I was praying in church by myself down near the altar and was having a great deal of suffering, but I also had felt like Jesus was far away. I just felt like, where have you gone? Where have you gone? And I was praying, and out of the tabernacle, which was in front of me, I was down on the floor because it just hurts to sit regularly. But anyway, a big foggy ball came out of the tabernacle, hovered high in the air above me, and at the same time, off to the left was the Mary altar, left as I was facing, and a huge ball of this white foggy came out from that, and they both joined above me, and a woman's voice said very clearly, "You will find him in your pain." And I knew instinctively that was the Virgin Mary speaking, and that somehow she and Christ from the tabernacle had united for that message. And also, over the years, I've come to see it that Mary's love for her son is also significant because of the union of love with suffering and suffering with love. So that leads to my next one, which was that I'm just off the top of my head remembering. I was in a chapel. I was actually spending the night because I was sort of out of an apartment, and before I had another rental after my mother. My mother was still alive, but I was trying to get into a rental, and the one I had been in had bad smoking that the landlord had lied about. I'd never had an allergy, but I developed a terrible allergy that was progressive. So I had to move out, and I didn't have another place to go. So the priest allowed me to stay in the chapel for the night. I would just stay on the floor. It was a small adoration chapel. The doors would be locked. But about the same time, I was getting signals from the Lord in dreams and visions, and also like in waking visions regarding this particular priest, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. But I hadn't zeroed in on exactly what was the exact problem. But I knew it had to do with something sexual, and something of grave moral sin, grave sin. So, and it was heartbreaking at the same time, and I sort of didn't want to know. The priest otherwise was like real orthodox and right on, but as it turned out later, very much living a double life. But I was praying, and it must have been around midnight. I was awake. And I was sort of laying on the floor flat with my knees up because that's best for my back, but totally awake. And all of a sudden this figure appeared. It was a corporeal vision where I could have reached out if I could have, moved or whatever, gotten out and touched the person, touched this. But and at about the same time, though, these naked, like adolescent boys, maybe 12, 13 years old, came in through the side chapel door and got down on the floor, butted up with their backs to me and their naked bodies just all surrounding me so that I couldn't move. And it was really horrible. But I knew they were demons because they had little protrusions, little like fingers coming up. And just, the whole thing was just evil and horrible. But at the same time then, this imposing figure, stood there and had a huge sword. I realized later it was St. Michael the Archangel. And he declared, as he walked over toward me, and these demons all just dissipated as this angel walked by me, toward me. And he thrust his sword right into my heart and declared loudly, and I mean it burned, it hurt, yet it was a pleasurable hurt. It's weird to describe. But he just declared these words: love to suffer and suffer to love. And then it was within the week that I knew for sure what this priest's problem was, and that's a whole nother story that took about another year to year and a half to get sorted out and get the priest help and out of the priesthood. I mean, by the time it got turned over to the diocese, etc. But it was very painful, the suffering that I went through, because I was close with this priest as far as, he was much younger, but he was very spiritually alert and but was just living a terrible double life. Terrible for him, sad for him, because he couldn't be, but he was living in sin, and he knew that. But anyway, I've never forgotten, though. Love to suffer and suffer to love. I feel it's appropriate for this Palm Sunday, for the beginning of Holy Week, as we travel along with Jesus in body, mind, heart, and spirit, hopefully for all of us, and experience some of his great love, but also the tremendous suffering he went through, the emotional, psychological suffering he endured, as well as culminating in a terrible physical suffering and injustice, persecution. God bless his real presence in you.